Hello, I'm Amanda, and today I have a book talk for The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. Long story short, I really enjoyed this book, I loved it, and I'm going to begin this review today with a non-spoilery section, and then I'll tell you when I switch over to a spoilery, I can't say that word, but I'll just let you know when I switch over because I want to talk about stuff in this book, but I don't want to spoil it. So I love this book. It was an easy, quick read. It was a fun adventure that you went on with the main character, and I'll tell you the plot just very briefly because I think that you should read a book without knowing too much about the plot because it's more fun that way. This book is about an upper-class 18th century British party boy who embarks on a grand tour across Europe with his sister and his best friend Percy, who is his, I guess, secret crush. This book was written in first person and it was funny. Like, I laughed so many times in this book, and sometimes I just kind of laugh like but sometimes I laugh and I was laughing through this book. It was very funny and I thought the author did a great job with accomplishing that. I enjoyed reading through the first person perspective of Monty. I thought that the way that he told the story was funny and it was just interesting the way that he explained things because he was ignorant sometimes and it was interesting to see that happen. The story is set in the 1700s and that means of course it's a historical setting, and while reading this I realized I have not read many books with a historical setting and I love history, so it's really making me question my reading choices up to this point and why I haven't read more historical fiction. Maybe because I just don't have any ones that I know about, so leave some suggestions down in the comments if you know of any you think I'd like. I like the more serious social topics that Lee incorporated into the story, such as race, sexuality, and privilege. I think it's a good idea for younger audiences to read this book because it brings up more serious topics that we should be talking about more. And the last thing I have to say in this non-spoiler review is that I thought the characters were well developed. Now this is something that I really look for when I read a book because I love to love the characters. It's one of the main things that I like about books are the characters. So I thought the characters were great in this book. And now I'm going to begin a spoilery talk in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, if you are still here and have read this book. I'm excited because now we get to just talk about it and tell me down in the comments what you thought about it too. Please. I really just want to talk about this book. That's why I'm making this video. So this is going to be kind of like a ramble right now on how I enjoyed it because there weren't really things that I didn't like about this book. If there was anything you didn't like about this book, also tell me that because I feel like I'm not very critical when I read books. I read for enjoyment, not for critiquing them. Okay, so I thought this plot was going to go differently than it did go. I really thought that it was just going to be them kind of like going to different parties and gambling and stuff like that. I didn't realize that it was actually going to kind of be this little adventure that they went on, so that was fun to see that happen. So they like kiss right at the beginning of the book. It was like, I don't even know, like this, and when I say they I mean Percy and Monty obviously. But I just was like, what? Oh, it's happening so early. And then they're like, he's like, oh wait, I don't care. And he's like, oh wait, but I do care. And it's so obvious to the reader that obviously like Percy's asking him if this is just a fling because he actually likes Monty, but Monty's so stupid. He's like, oh no, I don't want it to be all bad or something. I don't even know. But it was just so obvious to me that Percy liked Monty throughout the whole book, and Monty just couldn't see that. And until they had their talk, which was really exciting when they had their talk. I was so happy about that on the boat. But then, of course, it all went to shit. But anyways, so I thought that was really obvious. That did annoy me a little bit, but then it gave you some of that, like, funny tension stuff, and I also enjoyed that, so I don't even know. But it's just, Monty's just kind of up in his own head. I thought it was so funny at Versailles how he ended up running around naked after his, like, little romantic romp thing. That was funny. I thought it was a good way to show his character. And also, I really liked the beginning of the book and how it begins with them in bed, and I thought that the author did a great job at starting that out because it made it, I don't know, it like showed you what kind of a character he was, and it really let you have a good sense on who Monty was going to be. When the highwaymen came, I was so excited because I was like, yes, they're not going to be stuck with this bear leader, because when they got the bear leader, I was like, no, where are my funny, crazy things going to happen? But then the highwaymen came and it just all went crazy, and it just began this adventure where they were kind of on their own, and I loved that part of it, so it was very exciting when they came, even though they were being robbed, which is not good. I did not see it coming that Percy would have epilepsy. It was more serious than I thought it was going to be with that part. And it was interesting to see how Monty was trying to fix it and help him. He was trying to help his friend, and while it's good that he was trying to help his friend because he wanted to get the cure-all, but it also showed you that he wasn't totally willing to accept the situation as it was, because Percy was like, no, I'm fine, I don't need this, but he was just like, I need to fix it, I need to fix this. So it's interesting to see how that played out, and I liked how at the end he did end up accepting Percy the way he was. Okay, so I love the dialogue too throughout this, especially Felicity. She's hilarious, and she was the character where at the beginning of the book I thought, oh my gosh, she's gonna be the annoying little sister, but no, she was awesome. I loved her, and I saw on Goodreads that there's like going to be a book about Felicity and the pirates, and oh my gosh, I'm so on board for that. I would love that to be a thing. I hope that's a thing. Goodreads says it's a thing, so it's gonna be a thing. I love that scene where she was trying to get at that he liked Percy, and she's asking about who he fancies, and girls, yes, lads, yes. Percy? Felicity was just so smart, and she caught on to things, and I love that she wanted to become a doctor, and she wanted to do something with her life, especially in the time where women were a lot more oppressed. And that was great to see her develop, so I would just love to see a Felicity book. My favorite part of the book is when they got taken as hostages by pirates, and I love that. Even though they weren't really like traditional pirates, and they were just kind of starting off, I thought it was awesome, and I loved it. Like right when the people came on the boat, I was like, ooh, please be pirates, please capture them. And then sure enough, and so it is that we come to be hostages by pirates. That was my favorite line. It was hilarious, and I loved the parts where they're on the pirate ship, and at first they're trying to be all tough, and then they just start to get to know each other and they play games together. I loved all the pirates in those scenes. I also want to take this moment too to talk about how the ends of the chapters, like the ending lines to the chapters that Lee's written, are great. Like they are hilarious little lines, and I just love the way that she ended the chapters and the way that each chapter was done, and that's something that I think normally when I read a book, it just kind of feels like it's split up randomly, but for this book and the chapters, it actually felt like each chapter was kind of like a story, and it made sense as a chapter, and I feel like I haven't felt that way since reading the Harry Potter books, so that was fun. This line in particular, I love it. It's said by Felicity, who, I don't know, she says my favorite lines in this book, but ladies haven't the luxury of being squirmish about blood, she replies, and Percy and I go fantastically red in unison. We haven't the luxury of being squeamish about blood. I love you, Felicity. Okay, and then also towards the end of the book, it was so upsetting to me where Monty and Percy were together alone finally in Venice. Percy's like, come with me somewhere else. Let's go away. And of course the entire book I'm like, yeah, somebody bring up, you need to go away. That's the only way this book can possibly end is if they both go away. And then Monty's like, no, I can't. And he just, I don't know, that was really hard for me, but then obviously I liked how he changed his mind at the end. I guess I do kind of see where he's coming from because he doesn't really know how to do anything. I mean, he grows throughout the book, and I love the way that he does grow and he becomes more self-confident because he's really just has been beaten down by his dad for his whole life. I thought it was great how he did kind of grow self-confidence, and I think he's going to do fine now. He just needs to try working hard and drinking less, gambling less, that sort of thing. And the last thing I have to say is the ending letter to his father. That was just great. I loved it. It was like that was his big moment to show that he's growing up and that this adventure and this tour through Europe has changed him. And he's like, you know what, no, I don't need this, I don't need your money, but I'm going to be happy and this is my life. Yeah, there it is. And honestly, I read this book in 2 days, which was way too fast. I just flew through it. Tell me if you guys did the same thing, but I don't know. I could have done with some more pages because it was so enjoyable for me to read. And that's all I have to say. Please talk to me about it down below, and goodbye!